This segment of Frost Bites with Kelly Frost is sponsored by I'm on Capital Management, a more disciplined approach to your financial future.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Frost Bites with Kelly Frost. I am Kelly Frost, your host today. Today we had Tanya Chaney from Chaney's Spa and Salon. It is no longer just a salon. She is just concentrating on her spa. She has found boundaries, and we absolutely love that about her. Our co-host today is Amy Green with I'm in Capital Management, and they are also our sponsor. And we are at the beautiful Minx Studios today, as well as always. So stick around. We'll be right back. Hey guys, we are diving right in with Tanya Chaney. Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
We also have the beautiful Amy here today.
Hello, Kelly.
I know this is like a whole day with you.
Whole day.
I am loving it.
Every second.
Yes, you're loving it.
I am. Every second of it. There's no better way I'd love to spend my day.
Aw. Now, we really appreciate you being here today because I know that you're booked all day long with all your massages.
I am so happy to be here.
She came in today and everybody's like, oh my gosh, you do massages, blah, blah, blah.
That's me.
You have to get just inundated everywhere you go. Everybody wants you to just.
Literally, they go, okay, right here.
Yeah.
And then I go, I'm not massaging today.
I mean, how do you handle that whenever you go into places and everybody just wants you to touch them and rub them and.
I don't. So, like, you know.
You
when
don't touch
Oh,
them
no,
or
sorry,
rub
that
them,
was for
or
Amy.
So, like, when you go to massage school, right? 24 years ago, I went to massage school. Everybody's like, oh, my gosh, yeah. So I would be at the bar, like, rubbing shoulders or, like, lay down and I'll do. Listen, I do enough of it at work now. When I go out, I don't do it. I really don't do it at home so much. Like, if the family wants a massage, they have to come to the salon. Like,
Ooh,
they
that's
have
a
to lay down
boundary.
on the table, right? Because that space is designed for me to work properly, ergonomically, so I don't hurt myself. I'm not going to hurt them to hurt me to fix them.
Yep.
So, hard boundary. Yeah.
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 Oh, God.
I mean, if somebody's like suffering and it's not a completely public space, like I might do a couple seconds just to help them out, but generally no. It becomes like the big joke, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's really important to learn boundaries. Like, I'm really working on that.
Yeah. So anytime, I mean, healing, energy, like all of those, as a massage therapist, you just come in contact with so many energies and so many people have so many things. You have to be able to set up those boundaries, right? So as you're working with people, you're not taking on.
You're not absorbing.
You're not taking on all their stuff. And as an empath, I want to take it all on, but I realize I kind of have to like shake it off, leave it on the floor, leave it at work, and go home, right? Because I've got my own. I don't need to have everybody else's too, right? So I make it a priority to like really make people feel heard and validated and supported in my space, and then I have to leave it there, right? They feel better when they leave, and I can leave it all there. It's not my drama. Yeah.
Not my monkey, not my circus.
I say it all the time, exactly.
I have a pillow.
Yeah, it's so true.
doubt
And,
that.
you know, and the different boards and things that I serve on, too, like people come through and you're like, this is not my circus. This is not my circus. I will hear you, and I'll be here with you, but I'm not joining the circus.
Well, and I've had to start actually. I have some people in my life where they'll call and you can tell where it's going, and I'll just stop them right there because they want to draw you into it, and there's a few of them that it's almost like a rabid kind of thing. I'm like, no.
Got to pause. Take a pause.
Yep. Take a big step back.
Yeah.
Don't draw me in.
Yeah.
Well, what all do you do at your spa? Now, it's just a spa now, because I know you've just
Right.
done some rebranding and you're changing things up. So tell us what you were and now what you are doing.
Oh gosh, I changed I think yearly. So over the years, I've been doing massage for like 24 years. So over the years, I've gone from a massage therapist. We've grown into nails, hair, skincare, full service day spa. Last year, I identified an employee who was exceptional, special, talented, capable. And I came to the point where I didn't want all of the salon drama. That was there's no drama. Let me pull that back. I didn't want that extra work. It's extra mind junk for me. It's not my passion. It's not my forte. So she had all of this interest, and I basically said, let's talk this through. You want it, and I would love to give it to you. So we mentored for 6 months. She took over January 1st. We split the salon. Literally, when you walk into my space, I've got a right and a left, two separate doors in the foyer. So she's on the left. We literally split the business in half, and she rebranded that side and took ownership, and the employees and everything. It was the most.
Was it liberating?
Oh, I booked a trip to Australia. I was like, I can get out of here. It's interesting because it's not my mind junk anymore, right? But I still watch and I nurture. They're like my kids. They're all in their 20s, and they are crushing it. They're just doing a great job. Part of doing that was because I wanted to take a step back and focus on me and my passions, right? Because I've lost who I was and who I wanted to be as a business because I was spending so much energy in that arena that I really didn't have a lot of expertise in. So I had to work really hard to keep up with what was happening. Beauty's not my industry. Wellness is my industry, right? So I handed over the beauty portion to somebody who is way more capable and qualified than I am. I took on the wellness aspects. I committed to going out of the country to learn. So what we do on my side now, there are 3 other massage therapists plus myself. We do massage therapy, all the types, right? So general wellness, Swedish, deep tissue, trigger point, myofascial, pregnancy, reflexology, lymphatic is something we just added. We have a certified lymphatic therapist. We do some detox services, which is the infrared sauna. We have an ionic foot bath. We do ear candling. Yeah.
I've been wanting to do that.
Oh, yeah, we've got you.
Reflexology is my jam.
Is it?
Love it.
Yeah. So I have I think 2 of my girls specialize in that. That's not one of the techniques that I do. Yeah. As a massage therapist, and for doing this for so long, I've developed quite a book, right? So my schedule's pretty full. So I have to limit the services that I do. I can't do everything. So I seek expert counsel. I hire people that are smarter than me. That do different things, right? I hire people that do other things.
Well, and the last thing you really ever want to be is jack of all, master of none.
Right.
I think too many people try to be everything for everybody, and then you end up being nothing for anyone. And it's just, that's a dangerous path to go down.
Yeah.
So I would rather you be great at, these 3 things that I eat, sleep, and breathe, and hire the person to do the others.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm knowledgeable of lymphatic and reflexology, so I can give you some points, but I'm not your girl for those. I'm just not the girl that does those things. There's energetic work. There's a lot of different components that I kind of pull back from because I'm really good at certain things.
Right.
Yeah.
So, man, I'll tell you what. And I know this sounds so funny, and you laugh every time I say it, but so I've gotten massages just like everybody else has, and they've been good. But you have so many nerves and everything else that are in your ass. She's phenomenal with those nerves. I mean, any condition that I have or, anything else going on, I've never found anybody that fixes that for me. And you have fixed that for me.
Yeah. So just to expand on that a little bit, a lot of us hold tension in our low backs, our glutes. Most people don't even realize they're holding tension in their glutes, right? So as part of my deep tissue treatment, I do a lot of deep elbow kneading, pushing, pressure just to release all of that. And that deep tissue is my jam. Like that's what I enjoy doing.
I typically know, and we were talking about this a few minutes ago before we started, but I can tell when my hips are off because it spreads. I mean, it will spread up all through my entire, my sciatic will then flare. Eventually my something will be going on in my shoulder, and it's all started with the fact that one hip is jacked relative to the other.
And that's what's crazy about the body. Everything is connected. Literally everything is connected. If your right foot is off just a little bit, your ankle's going off, your knee's going off, your hip, your pelvis, your low back,
and your
shoulders,
other
your
leg
neck.
soon because you're overcompensating.
Absolutely. That's probably one of the first things, but it's all going to carry and show up somewhere else. You know, so sometimes a shoulder problem, I have to, like, after a massage or two and it's not getting better, I have to go, is this really a shoulder problem?
Right.
Let me take a look at what's actually happening. So if your massage therapist is ever walking behind you or watching you walk down the hallway, we're taking a look at what's happening.
Exactly.
Like, we're watching how you walk, right? We're watching, we might pick up I might pick up a pair of your shoes and just take a look at the
And see
underside
how
to
you're
see how you're
wearing them.
wearing.
Mhm.
Because that's going to give me an indication as to how I need to treat you.
Yeah, if you pronate, if you know the whole night.
Oh, yeah. Or uneven wear, heel,
Interesting.
toe, yep, outsides, yep.
Huh.
I haven't looked at your shoes, Cal.
We were just discussing earlier that both of us have done the half marathon. And I was saying when I finished doing it this year, thanks to Peel, I did it on behalf of Yazoo and raised money for them. But what hurt the next day did not have to do with my leg muscles. It did not have to do with my feet, my sternum, because you're pumping your arms for 3 hours and you kind of hunch in a little bit, unless you're some elite runner that has that crazy posture. So for like the week afterwards, it was just, I needed a ton of body work to get all of that to release. And I mean, and who knew, who knows you're going to run a half marathon and you're not going to be able to
Sternum's
button
gonna
your
hurt.
pants.
Yeah.
I told her I was wearing, but I went to put on button fly jeans, and the act of like trying to do that, I was like, I can't wear these because I'm not going to be able to pee all day.
No peeing today.
Yeah, no peeing today. So yeah, I had to change clothes.
I mean,
Stretch pants.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. You just never know what
Well,
we're
you
gonna
never
talk
know.
about.
Exactly.
never know where it's going.
Or where it's coming from.
Exactly. Oh, so many ways.
Oh no, we know where it's coming from. That's interesting. Yeah, because I always have I get migraines constantly, and I think it's like from my neck and from my shoulders because
And your
I hold
computer so much, right?
Yes.
With your job.
Yep, constantly. It's either a computer or it's like the desktop or it's I have an iPad now.
Yeah. And you're carrying
Converting.
bags around, shuffling between meetings, and yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, it all goes down, and then like we were talking, and this is so funny, but I have an extra vertebrae. Yeah.
So
She's special.
extra.
So extra.
She's extra.
Yeah, it's a whole extra thing I have going on. But I do. I mean, it's not like a. So we were joking about like shallow how I don't have like a tail. Like it doesn't wag when I'm happy or nervous or anything. But yeah, so I have an extra vertebrae, and I didn't know that. And I said I have a lot of cushion in my ass, but I also have a bony ass, so I have it like
Extra bone.
all kind. Yeah, so. So I'm always telling her, I'm like, you have to work on my ass. And I'm like, if anybody else was like listening to this without the context of
Without the context,
of the whole conversation, they would think there's something wrong with us. I mean, there definitely is.
You're
But
definitely not alone in the office, though, because people are like, oh, my butt. I'm like, I got you.
see?
Yeah.
It's a thing. It's a real thing.
Absolutely.
But the general public doesn't generally know about it, or people who have tight butts aren't like, oh, my gosh, my butt it's so tight. Like, it's not something you talk about.
it's
You
also-
might talk about your neck and your shoulders being tight, right?
But it's also your hips.
Absolutely.
I mean,
It's all
because-
connected.
Yeah, but I mean, like, like your IT band, like, it's not just your glutes. Like,
Well, the low
all
back
of it.
feeds in, the hamstrings feed up. There's a lot that happens. And in
Yep.
fact, a lot of people,
It's a huge connection. I mean, they're your largest muscles in your entire
and
body.
they're the strongest, right? So a lot of folks with low back pain, particularly men, fun fact, that low back pain comes because their hamstrings are really tight and it pulls their pelvis backwards, which changes their lumbar curve. Right? So when guys come in and they're like, oh, my low back, I go, okay, and I do the glutes and I'll do hamstrings. And they're like, it's not my legs. I'm like, I
Try-
know. I know. But I
you
want you
do
to rub
you,
my
let
low
me
back.
work.
I'm like, I'm going to get there. I just need to work out your hamstrings a little bit because I know you don't know, but they're pretty tight. They're like, no, it's not. I'm like, let me do this, and then we're going to talk about your low back in a minute. We're going to get there, I promise.
Here's questions that I think everybody wants to know. So when you're doing massages, do you like it when people talk to you? Not about their bodies, but talk to you.
Just converse the whole time.
Yeah, so it's funny. I was just talking to, I ran into Jeff, who was on the show earlier, and we were talking about that. So the energy exchange, right? So I have clients that come in and they lay down and they don't say a word to me. And that's okay because that's what they need from me, right? I have people who come in and they'll talk for a few minutes and how's the kids? The weather's good. How's your mom? How's this? How's that? And then they fall silent. I'm going to follow your lead.
Okay.
As the massage therapist, I'm going to follow your lead. Sometimes I have clients that come in and they just go. time. So they either really like talking to me, or they don't have people to talk to in their life, right? Like, think about the stay-at-home moms. They come in, and I'm like the only adult they're talking to other than their spouse, and maybe they don't even like their spouse. So, like, there's a whole dynamic, right? So sometimes people come in and they spill it all, right? And I'm just there to validate and receive, and sometimes I have to
not
leave
absorb.
and not absorb it, right? Leave it there, right? So sometimes I hear really tough stuff in the room, and I'm like, okay, that's a lot. This person is dealing with, and it makes me more compassionate to them. Provide better care, maybe, right? It's like a different level of compassion. But do I have a preference? I don't know that I do.
I think it would be exhausting for that, because you're all in.
Physical,
like, and if somebody's there, say, for a 90-minute massage, and not only are you all in physically, but mentally, because and they're chatty, that's a lot.
So different people will pull my energy. I know who they are because I mostly see regulars, right? So I know who my energy drains are.
So you store it up.
So I prepare myself. I'm like, okay, for the next 60 minutes, this is what's going to happen. And I'm okay with it, right? I just mentally prepare myself. It's some of them joke it's therapy with therapy, right? They get their chat session in. And it's like a vault in there. I have people who come in and they're like, this is between you and me. And I'm like, who else wants to know your stuff? Like, nobody I know wants to know your stuff. Right. And I could not possibly remember all of your stuff, nor share it with somebody else. So I was talking with Jeff, like I said earlier, and we were talking about, there was a client who came in, and she's always very, like, in the box. Like, she'll chat about the kid and the things. And I could tell she was particularly stressed out this last time she came in. And she was griping about her mother-in-law. And I said, and I felt like I was a little bit out of line, but I felt comfortable enough saying, she's got a really strong personality. I was kind of validating what she was saying. And she said, no, she's a bitch. And I was like,
there you go.
I am so happy that you feel safe enough in this space to say that. And then she's like, well, I got more to say. And I was like, let it out, girl. Yeah. Like, and it was a 90-minute massage. And she walked out and she was like, thank you so much for just listening to me. I feel so much better.
Therapy with therapy.
Therapy with therapy. And all I did was just listen to her gripe. I mean, she's got a lot of life stuff, right? Life stuff. Who else is going to listen to her life stuff? So, yeah, life stuff.
I don't think I talk. Do I talk?
I think you go in and out. So, and that's the other thing.
Sleep.
Yes, there are hybrids who will come in sometimes and not talk to me, and then they'll come in the next time and they'll be a little chatty. I don't take offense either way. Some people say, I'm so sorry, I'm not talking to you. And I'm like, you're not here to entertain me. Right. Like, by the way, like, you're not here for me. Like, I'm here to do the things for you. So.
That's how I feel when I come in. I'm like, oh, I'm not talking. I feel, because that's what I do. I talk all the time. So I feel like if I know you, I should be talking to you. I feel rude. Not saying
your therapy with therapy is the fact that for that 60 or 90 minutes, no one's expecting you to talk.
Well, I know that
I'm
now.
not expecting you to talk.
Yes, this is a great conversation.
I'm one of those that in the very beginning, I feel like it's almost, it depends on whether I've known them and I've been before, but it's almost like I'm going to chat for a second to create a bond. And then I want to have to be breathing, like, because I like just deep tissue and it better hurt. Like,
you want us to beat you up?
Yeah. If it's like one of those Swedish ones, like I'm like, what did I just pay for? What did I pay for?
Petting you.
Yeah, exactly.
I call it petting.
I know. I'm like, I did not pay for a heavy petting session.
Heavy petting is something
right,
different. That's a whole different.
I'm gonna pick your brain for a minute.
Yeah, please do.
So I was told that before. So somebody that's in my life is in the same kind of field, and they said when you do have a massage, you want it to hurt, because that's the only way that it's actually working. The next day, it'll be a little bit sore. So with that mindset, like I didn't used to get massages very often at all. And then, when I would go in and I'd just get like a normal massage, and I don't think I've ever actually had a deep tissue. But the person that was doing it was really hurting, right? And in my head, I have this person telling me, if it doesn't hurt, it's not working. So I was like, all right, suck it up, suck it up. And I'm one of those people that I want everyone around me to be happy and content. And yes, I know, it's a problem.
You should give that up.
I'm trying. And so I'm there, and I'm thinking to myself, you're good. Just, you're good. You can do it. It's almost done. I'm like giving myself like an internal pep talk. Yes. Like, it's almost done. You're almost done. And they got done with an arm, and I was like, okay, you got it. You did it. And the other one started, you're like, oh, shit.
I got two.
There's another arm. And it was like, it really hurt. Like, I was almost like, and if I cried, I probably would have.
You
But
could cried, yeah.
But I mean, you don't want it to hurt like that kind of hurt.
Right.
Like,
So can I give you my perspective on it? For sure. Because I am a deep tissue therapist. I don't need to beat you up. I give you deep tissue. You don't even know it.
I guess not.
Right. Because, yeah, I mean, you kind of want to feel it sometimes, but I don't have to push so hard that I'm overriding your nervous system. If I'm pushing so hard that you're wincing and pulling away, I'm not doing my job properly, in my opinion. Now, there's going to be all camps, right? In my camp, I want it to hurt so good. And I say, especially those big guys, they come in and they're like, hurt me. And I'm like, yeah, okay. No, because I'm not going to do that to myself. That's torture to me, right? So I want you to feel it. If it hurts so good, let me go. If you feel like you need to wince or pull away, I want you to speak up. Right. I don't want you to dislike me tomorrow. I don't want you to be sore. I want you to go on with your life. Your massage should not disable you, right? Now, there might be a spot, a shoulder, a knee, a hip, a low back, a butt, where you want me to kind of dig in and do a little extra. I can do that for you, but I'm not going to torture your entire body. Like, that just doesn't make sense.
Like my shoulders and my back, that never hurts. You can go really hard. I never feel pain. It always needs it. My arms and legs, though, I'm like, oh.
And that's really common in women to be more, so that's why I do a customized massage, right? And I'm, whether you're talking or not talking, I'm reading your body language the whole time, because if I see you, like, trying to get away from me, I'm going to lighten up. Even if you don't tell me, I'm going to lighten up, because I don't want you to, I don't want to override your nervous system. My goal is to calm the nervous system and make you feel better.
not make it flare.
I don't want to create inflammation unless we're doing a very specific wash-jaw technique or something along that line. I don't want to cause inflammation. I don't want to put the nervous system into fight or flight. I don't want to do.
Yeah, mine already hates me.
We're calming, right? Exactly. There's enough going on in the world that your nervous system does not need to come in and jack you up, right?
Right.
So, yeah, there's all camps, right? It's okay. So here's a fun topic.
Okay.
People always say, new people always say, and I don't have so many new ones anymore, but they always say, "Am I supposed to take off my underwear?"
I don't ever take mine off. Are you supposed to?
I always.
If you're under 40. I'm just kidding.
I'm like, wait a minute.
This goes back to our
Yeah,
previous
no, I
chat.
always.
Are you supposed to?
So, are you supposed to? Yes and no. It depends on what you want to do.
I don't ever
It's your
wear a
comfort
bra, but I.
Well, you cannot. You
Yeah.
can't possibly wear a bra.
There's
Well,
there's
you
no
can,
way.
but it makes my job really, really hard. And I'm going to unsnap it. And if you got a sports bra on, I probably hate you. I'm sorry if you've ever worn a sports bra in my practice.
No, I just strip down.
Yes. So as a massage therapist, my preference is, for women, I don't care so much because our underwear cut high, so they're not in the way. Men who wear boxer briefs that come halfway down their thigh.
Okay.
How am I supposed to massage your thigh when your underwear in the way? I can't. Like, I can't do a full leg stroke, right, if there are underwear in the way. And I don't like fiddling with them so much, so I'm going to push once, and if I'm not going to fiddle with them. So you're not getting a full massage, in my opinion, right? But you have to have a comfort level with your therapist. So you're going to do, and I always tell people to undress to their comfort level. Sometimes I come in and people have their clothes on. I'm like, you're going to have to lose something. You're going to have to help me out somewhere.
Strip poker begins now.
I'm going to walk out, and you're going to take a couple things off, and we'll try again.
Sir, could you please remove your hat?
We're going to have to start somewhere. But yeah, so it's really based on comfort level. But for us as a massage therapist, especially if you're doing glute work, it's better not to work through an extra layer. Women, again, not such a big deal, but men. And men are the ones that are more bashful about it, right? Because I'm a female, and there's, it's way easier for me if they're just not in the way.
I did not know.
Because the way we drape, you're never uncovered.
Yeah.
So I say to people who are new, I'm like, I'm going to uncover just the piece I'm working on. You can leave your underwear on or off. I'm not going there, so it doesn't matter.
So my husband is one of those, and I didn't know that he was serious about it, but like when you call and they say, do you prefer a male or a female? I'm like, I don't care. I just want a good massage. My husband will only see women. And so we were at a resort and had all of our spa services booked. And of course they ask, and I always tell, and he gets there and they take him back to like the quiet room or whatever. And then the dude comes to get him to take him to his massage. And my husband was like, no. And I was like, are you like, what? And he was like, no, it's just no. Yeah. And I was like, and he was like, he said, I just will not be able to relax.
That's so much
like,
the case,
okay.
Amy. It happens all the time. I used to have a massage therapist on staff who was a male, and men don't want men, and women don't want men. I mean, I don't care.
I
like
give me
a
a
male
good
massage
massage, yeah.
therapist. That doesn't bother me at all. But men are not comfortable. And I'm not speaking of 100%, but there's some percentage of men who are not comfortable with a man. And there are a percentage of women who are not comfortable with a man. So then what do you do with your male therapist?
Yeah.
Right? So I had hired a male, and I was talking to Jeff about this earlier today, too. I mean, we just had all the massage
How long were you
conversations.
guys at lunch?
Quite the lunch. So I had a male massage therapist, and he was pretty benign, right? Like not overly attractive, not unattractive, not intimidating, not a potato. Like he was just like this.
Plain vanilla.
He was a vanilla dude. Like he wore a polo shirt and Dockers every day to work, and he was such a good dude. And he gave a great massage. Like he did my massages. And I couldn't convince people to take him. So I had this old lady crew that used to come into the one location where I worked, that I owned. And I'm specialized. I do deep tissue. When I was seeing the old lady crew, I wasn't doing my specialty. I was like really backpedaling a little bit to provide the care they needed. So I thought if I could get them to take Greg would do a great vanilla massage, right? And I can get in the clients that need the deeper tissue work. So I said to the one older lady, I said, Greg was there. I started putting the therapist in the space where the other people were. So she said, "Oh, who's this gentleman?" I was like, "Oh, this is Greg. He works for me. He's great, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "I just don't know about a male therapist." And I said, "How about this? I want you to take him for massage, and if you don't like it, I'll give you 100% of your dollars back." She's like, "Well, that's a deal." I refuse. So she worked with Greg, and then
they all like lemons. They all
wanted to go to Greg because he's so sweet and caring and thoughtful, and he is a lot more. He had more time to be with them and talk with them because I was shuffling, right? Because I have that full book and I'm trying to get all my people through, so I didn't have time to have tea, right? Sit and talk, right? So he became their buddy.
Aww.
And it worked out really well, and then he moved.
Darn it.
I finally got him a full book, and then he moved on me.
But
But
I just didn't think my husband was serious.
oh yeah, it's a real thing. And unfortunately, it's hard. Not many men are in our industry. This is one of the few female dominated industries. So I shy away sometimes, but I haven't had another opportunity. If I got another Greg, I would hire him, hands down. I just think you have to know that ahead of time when you're hiring, right? It might be hard to fill them, but once you can get people going into them and they get trusted, you build the bond, then it usually works out pretty well.
So I booked massages for my husband and myself at a hotel downtown. It was the anniversary, whatever. He loves massages. I thought, all right, this will be fun. We'll go and we'll do it together because he likes to do that. So we go down.
Silly stuff together.
I know. So we go down and we're getting ready to, go down. And they said, so we had one of our therapists cut off, so we can only do a massage for one of you.
Oh.
I was like, damn, okay. And it was like my year to book everything. We were at that time taking turns who was going to make the plans. So, well, it was my turn to do it, so I'll let you have the massage. And they said, well, you can do a pedicure while he's doing a massage. I was like, all right, deal. Yeah. So I'm getting ready to do my pedicure and getting everything ready, and they're getting ready to take him back, and this really tall guy comes out. Oh, sir, I'll take you back. And I was like,
It's not going to happen.
and I'm looking at my
That would have been a hard pass in my house.
and I said, do you want to switch? I was like, I know you probably don't want to do a pedicure, but can we figure something else out that you want to do? And he was like, I'm going to try it.
Oh, good for him.
Good for him.
And I was like, okay. So he goes back. I said, if something's wrong, just let me know. It's okay. He comes out and he was like, oh, my God, that was the best massage I've ever had. And I was like, yes.
I love them.
My husband.
Now he's open. He was like, any day, because
Yeah.
we were talking about coming to see you. And I said, I think there's a gentleman. Is that going to be okay? And he was like, hell yeah, that's fine with me. And I was like, okay. I was so proud of him. Like, that he
You
was.
just have to get past it. It's the whole comfort zone thing, right?
He had an open mind, and he was just like, I don't care.
It baffles me because my husband is a big golfer, so he's in locker. It's not like he's shy about being. I'm like, I don't understand. He's like, no,
They're not touching him.
right? But he was like, I could never relax, and I'm like, I think it's in your head, but whatever. He is one that does not matter what type of massage. I have heard him snore. He falls asleep during all of them.
I have snorers.
And I've heard him snore during like a Thai massage, like where they're
moving.
they're
your body?
actually manipulating him, and he's snoring. I'm like, how is that humanly possible?
Yeah.
But
But and too bad for the therapist because the client is supposed to assist on some level.
I mean,
That's like a paired
it's
massage.
like dead weight, right?
It's literally dead weight.
But it was so I warned them like beforehand when I'm booking, I'm like, FYI, he's gonna fall asleep. I mean, just dig that elbow in there, but he's gonna fall asleep.
David does too.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because it's usually my guys who fall asleep and they snore. I mean, the women fall asleep too, but they don't snore. I don't know you're sleeping necessarily. So the guys will be like, "Oh my gosh, I think I fell asleep," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. Did I snore?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, so much snoring."
Jess, she falls asleep every time that you do, and she's like, "I came out," and I was like,
Oh, I've had people drool. Like,
Jess does every time. She's like, "Do I still have it?" I'm like, "No, you're good."
so I put a little stool, like when you go face down, I put a little stool here so you rest your hands on it, and it's under the face cradle. Right? So massage you. I go to the front, you come to the front, we get checked out, and I go back, and I move the stool one time, and I was like, gross. There's literally drool all over this stool.
Disinfectant time.
Well, I know. So now I look every single time because I didn't realize how much it was happening. Sitting in it? Like, I don't even know.
So gross.
I know. Well, I've become very aware of it now. It's a thing that because the rooms are dark. You can't always see. They're dark on purpose.
Right.
Except I now watch
Now
the
you-
stool.
now you
all the
look.
time because I don't
bet.
want to sit in drool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a compliment, right? I mean, that's an amazing compliment.
I mean,
that somebody's
I've heard that's
drooling
yeah.
all over my stuff. Yeah.
That's
I make people drool
For a living.
for a living.
I mean, that could be like, your 30-second.
That's a new slogan.
Oh, I don't want that one. We'll find a different one.
What do you do for a living? Make you drool?
Drill.
Okay.
Oh, that's like a whole nother podcast.
I know. It totally could be. We'll have to do like your marketing. We'll have to be rebranding you.
Making people drool. Drool buckets. We'll just start hanging buckets underneath and see who can fill the bucket.
That's so gross.
It is so gross.
Mine, I don't usually fall asleep, but it is like that 10 or 15 minutes after I get up when my nasal passages are because my nose will inevitably be like
Every
this
single
close
time.
to running, and I get up and the first thing is like kind of like okay, get it flowing back because it's a gravity
It's a gravity
issue.
thing, right? So as a massage therapist, one of the things that drives me absolutely insane, massage therapy has been around for like 5,000 years. How have we not created a better headrest that does
please,
not
Jesus.
create sinus pressure, right? Because when you're laying face down, everything drains forward, your nose gets clogged. People are sniffling and snorting toward the end of the massage, and I always have tissues in my room because people have to blow their nose. How have we not developed something new? Listen, whoever's out there, please develop it. I don't want it to be me. But somebody has to do this.
Right.
How do we not have a better system?
Well, and then when they start putting towels on it too, so that you've closed the air, like sometimes you get in there and they've closed the airway down to like the tiniest little space. And I used to have this massage therapist that would come into my house when I was traveling a lot because after being on airplane seats for as long as I was, my body would just be jacked. And after COVID, I mean, she's coming into my house and I get her wanting to wear a mask and I get wanting to, okay, you want me to wear a mask? Fine. But when I go face down into the cradle, there is no way. I'm like, I'll just lie to you and tell you I am because as soon as I flip over, I'm going to cheat and move it because I am not going to pay you money to suffocate me. Like it
So
was
that was
so
a whole
uncomfortable.
thing during COVID. So, okay, during COVID, right, my business got shut down.
Yeah.
Non-essential. But we couldn't be within 6 feet of each other. Am I ever going to be able to do my job again? Am I literally ever going to be able to
version of
touch a
Rike?
boy? Right. Right. And there were all these like funny things about using a rake and a broom. And I'm like, but like, I get it, it's funny, but like, this is my livelihood.
Right.
Like, how do I ever get back to doing this? And thankfully it all came around and we had to wear masks in the salon, right? Laying people face down was a struggle.
Right.
So we created this. I mean, we're watching other massage therapists. What are they doing? How are they handling it? We've got to create comfort. If people can't breathe, they're not relaxed. If they're not relaxed, this massage is stupid. It's not working. We were putting pillowcases. We fashioned pillowcases to go on the underside so you could take your mask down. So you were essentially breathing into a pillowcase.
Like a feed bag.
Like a feed bag. Because I don't want you to have this thing pressed against your face.
Right.
So
Because
we
you're
were-
already in the in a
It's
cradle.
already
You're
restricted, and so you're breathing recycled air. But at least we were still following the rules, because if you break the rules, you're getting shut down.
Oh my God.
I was just like,
What a goofy time in our era.
Mm.
So goofy. And then
I can't. I
well, the other part of it, right, was people are like, oh, you don't have plexiglass at your front desk. I'm like, I'm literally going to go in the the back and share airspace and touch you. Why do I need plexiglass
Right.
at my front?
As if the plexiglass was doing anything.
As if. Right? So why am I putting all this junk around my front desk and changing my aesthetic when I'm literally going to go touch you?
Right. I'm going to be within, like, my hands are on your body for the next 60 minutes.
Yeah, literally. I had a new guy walk in and he wouldn't shake my hand, and I was like,
It's not going to
that's
go well.
interesting because I'm about to touch you for the in a closed airspace. Oh, it was a weird time.
You can't solve for crazy.
I'm so glad that's over.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. We're back to normal.
Yeah, whatever that is. Or was.
I don't know. I still see people riding in their car by themselves.
I don't understand
wearing
that.
a mask.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in with another person and you're ride sharing or, transporting patients, whatever, I get that. But in the car by yourself, you should just put the window down and enjoy your life. Like take in some air.
I'm like, you do you, but I don't
If you're
understand.
in your car by yourself and you have a mask on, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, that's
Or I'm questioning
yes, that's what I'm thinking.
why you have a mask on
Yeah.
by yourself.
Yeah.
And maybe, I'm going to get some kind of person messaging me, but I just think that's...
We might have just stirred up all kinds of things. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But so you were talking about Australia. I did hear you say that before, and I've heard some of your stories.
Yes.
And I was following along and living through you, by the way.
Did you climb the bridge?
I didn't do anything but train. All I did was train, unfortunately. And so I land in Australia in Sydney, and I travel up, and I go to this little part of town called the Gold Coast. So excited. I make a friend first day, and we're out walking for lunch, and we're on the beach side looking over at all the tall buildings. And it's kind of like what I imagine Miami is, like tall buildings, condos, hotels, nightclubs. Like it's the spot, right? So I'm walking along, and I go, does that say Wahlburgers? She's like, oh, that's an American restaurant. And I said, I know. That's weird because I've never even seen one in America. I don't know where they are in America. And she says, oh, well, this is Little America. We've got all kinds of American. And I was like, I have just flown halfway around the world.
To land in Little America.
Little America. I was like, this is so disappointing. No koala bears, no kangaroos, like no furry critters. I saw a magpie. I saw some weird little birds, ibis, I think. I don't even know what they were called. But I did not get the Australian experience that I had hoped for, so I'm going to have to go.
Oh, I'm in.
Are we going? Girls trip?
Yeah.
It is a long way to fly, but it was definitely worth it.
Yeah,
I fly
for
well.
sure.
But like
Eye roll.
just a little outside of town, there's some. I mean, obviously there's great wine, and you don't have to go very far to like get out to the vineyards. And then climbing the bridge is fun. You actually.
Which are you talking about?
Have you
What part
been
of town?
there?
She's talking like she's been there.
No, for work, like that, I used to have to travel all the time, and I would try and tuck on. My husband would come along so he could play golf wherever it was, and we would always try and tack on some time. But like the bridge at Sydney Harbor, the
Sydney.
big one,
Okay.
you put on like these jumpsuits, and they strap you in, and you go with they have a leader, and you literally climb the bridge. You walk up the outside of the bridge, and so
That's
you're
so
up
cool.
looking out over the harbor and the opera house and all of that kind of stuff. And it is super, super cool. But yeah.
I didn't get to see any of that, but as I was flying out of Sydney up to the Gold Coast, I happened to be on the correct side of the plane,
to see it all.
and I saw the Sydney Opera House. So it's a very cool picture from the air. It looks so tiny. I mean, it's not tiny, right? It's
No,
like
it's not
massive, but in my picture, it's like, like that big.
It reminds me a lot of, if you've ever been to DC, it's like the Kennedy Center kind of thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
it has like a lot of those platforms outside, so that you can kind of have that indoor-outdoor experience as you're going to. But inside, it's beautiful, and it's really there's a big park surrounding it, and so you can see.
I saw all of that from the air. I have to go back. Sydney and the Outback. I had zero Outback experience. So the girl I made friends with, Liz, I'm sure she'll watch the podcast at some point, lives 12 hours north of where the conference was hosted. So she lives 45 minutes from the rainforest and 45 minutes from one of the most popular beaches in Australia, just at the southern tip of the Barrier Reef, right? So I'm like, well,
Gotta go back.
sounds like I'm coming back and hanging out at her place, right?
Yeah.
So what did you go train for?
Oh, that's the big thing that's happening right now. So I went out to Australia to learn a technique called Spinal Flow. So it's a somatic healing practice. It's new for me. It's like a whole new concept of work for me because I'm so manual, so physical with my work. So Spinal Flow is a little more energetic. It works in Western medicine. It crosses over into Eastern a little bit. So what we do is the base of it is we're trying to connect your brain to your spinal cord, your nervous system, right? Because we get so disconnected for so many different reasons. We live in fight or flight. We deal with trauma, physical, emotional, chemical trauma, right? Every one of us has some sort of junk, baggage, blockages, right? So your body holds on to trauma. This is a concept that's becoming very popular. I mean, I've known this for a while now. So your body holds on to all the things that happen to you through your childhood, good or bad, bullying that happens, financial stress, like work stress, life stress, marriage stress, kid stress. We hold it, right? So what happens during Spinal Flow is I just make a little bit of contact trying to connect the brain to the spinal cord, the nervous system. And once we can establish this spinal flow, it's a separate flow from breath. I watch the spine and I wait for the spine to start to flow, and I can enhance and do different kinds of techniques to get the spine to flow. And once we get all of that flowing, trauma kind of just flows away. It's so cool. It is so cool. I'm starting to do it in the practice now. I'm kind of working with my staff to get them trained up a bit. It's just so fascinating to see what happens. People, during the training, 7 days, it's pretty intensive, so we saw results very quickly in our group of 66 trainees. It all happens very quickly because it's so intensive, right? So you just see this spinal flow that develops, right? The wave that develops. You start to see people releasing emotional trauma, and like there are movements that happen. People sometimes will weep during their sessions because it's all just literally melting away, and the spine just moves. So the great thing about Spinal Flow is it compounds, right? Your first session will be kind of slow moving, and then it'll get a little bit better. Your body learns how to do it. And once you get in the flow, right, you can just continue that flow throughout the day. Like you can just live in the flow state. That's amazing. When we can get to the flow state, you're giving me crazy eyes.
No, they're not crazy eyes. They're
when I looked at it, I was like, there's no way. And even during the training, I was like, I don't really know so much. But by day 3, I was feeling it, and I was like, oh, I totally get it now. Like it's so cool. So I was talking to my son Max about it, 15 years old, right? Analogies. We love working through analogies. So he says to me, the most intelligent thing I think I've ever heard him say to me, maybe. He says a lot of cool stuff. But he said to me, Mom, it sounds like you're tapping a maple tree, right? Like, so you come along and you tap the maple tree, and once you can get the syrup to flow, the tree knows what to do.
It'll keep flowing.
It'll keep flowing. And I was like,
that sounds like a spinal tap.
it sounds like a spinal tap.
I've had one of
Yeah.
those.
Me
Did
too.
not go so well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I've
but
heard that
once you
description.
get the spinal flow going, right? So it's a pretty it's not so handsy, right? It's not like a massage. I'm not touching you the whole time. So once I can get the syrup to flow or your spine to move, I can back away and just observe, right? Because your body knows what to do. And I'm not the healer, right? I'm just the facilitator. You are the healer of your own body. And that's what's so magical about it, because I'm just kind of coaching your body to do what it needs.
My body does not know.
I can help you. So we just have to get you on the table for Spinal Flow.
You know a person.
Like
know
one
a
of the
guy.
only people in the U.S., really. I mean, there aren't very many of us. I should probably do a search now, because she's training more and more people.
So regardless, so you know my history, but regardless of any of that,
Yeah, so here's the magical thing, right? So along the same lines as chiropractic, right? Like the nerve roots come out of the spine, and if there's blockages along the spine, the nerve roots get altered, and then you end up with issues that happen, right? So with Spinal Flow, once you get things moving, the nerve roots get a little bit freer, and everything that's affected by those nerve roots can improve, right, over time. So MS, that's a whole different ballgame. That's a degeneration issue. Can it regenerate? I don't know the answer to that. Will it hurt you? No, not at all, right? So people have already called, like, I have fusions, I have rods, I have pins, I have screws, I have this, I have that. I've got the whole litany of things, and it's great because I can work with all of that because I'm not doing direct pressures, right? So your body's going to do what it's capable of doing inside, there's no direct pressure. So it's really safe technique for everybody. And the trainer, the founder of the technique, Dr. Carli, she says she does it on babies right after birth.
That's
Right.
trauma. That is trauma.
Right, because trauma is birth is traumatizing, right? So she'll do it straight to babies, right?
Interesting.
And then the flow happens, and then that's less junk you're carrying forward. Anytime you can dump out the trauma, like empty out the bucket,
Right.
it's better, right? So it's great for kids, it's great for babies, it's great for animals, it's great for adults, it's great for people who are bed bound, chair bound. You know, it's just a matter of getting
harm,
the
no
flow
foul.
going.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I'm kind of still baffled by it a little bit. And sometimes when cool things happen in the office, I'm like, I can't believe that just happened. I can't believe I just witnessed that happening on my table.
Awesome.
Right? Because it's so new to me, too.
You haven't gotten jaded yet.
Well, it'll come eventually. It always does.
That's. I'm gonna have to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was talking about that at the peel lunch, and I was like, "Wait, what'd she say? Wait,
Wait, trauma, what?
is that right? Did she just say she doesn't touch?
Spinal flow.
And I was like, yeah.
I would like to, I'm going to try and get some videos together so that we can push out a little bit of marketing so that people can kind of see what happens in a session because it's, and you stay fully clothed.
I was just gonna say, do I have to be in my underwear?
If you need someone for your video,
You can leave your clothes on this time.
Yeah.
So in Spinal Flow, and here's what's going to be a little different, and this is how I have to like change the office setup a little bit. You stay clothed for this session, right? So you come in for your initial session. I do that as a private because I want to be able to be one-on-one with you. And after the session, if you want to talk about it, I want to be able to talk to you about it, right? I want to validate what you're feeling and have
especially
a
if they're
conversation.
crying.
Especially if you're crying.
See, I don't cry. If I tell you what,
If you start crying, I'm
Then-
champion of the universe.
Right?
Like,
I
I've
mean-
won the prize.
Exactly.
she'll be like on the whole like outside. Yes,
Yes,
She'll be
I
like
just
Rocky.
won.
Dun, 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 dun.
Running the steps at the aquatorium. But,
I mean, truly.
So after your first visit, once we get everything set up properly down there, we're going to do semi-private group sessions, right? You're just going to come in and lay down. There will be there's no conversation during Spinal Flow because we need your brain, your mind to check out and let your brain do the work. So if I'm talking to you, you're not focused on your body.
Right.
So it's all very quiet. It's all very like tranquil healing space kind of thing. So in my healing room, I'll have someone coming in and out like every 15 minutes, right? So you'll lay down for 15 minutes, probably 30 or 45 minutes.
I was going to ask how long.
It's about 30 minutes. When I do the group sessions, I'll probably allow 45 minutes just so that you can kind of zen down after. So because everybody's clothed and you're face down, nobody's looking at the neighbor. Like nobody.
Right.
So I can do multiple sessions at one time. And if there is some sort of weeping or relief, like it's all fine. It's a safe space, right? I just have to create the safe space. Right? And what happens in a group room is if you're having really great flow on table 3 and table 2 comes in, when I let them kind of zen for a couple minutes before I get over to them, they're going to pick up on the energy in the room. It's a big flow state.
Now, are you on similar bed? I mean, are you? You're
It's a
face
massage
down
table.
on a
Yeah,
massage
it's a
table.
massage table. Yeah.
Speaking of the cradle again.
That cradle. I really wish somebody please develop it. I'm speaking directly to the camera. All of you people, somebody develop it.
Oh yeah,
Somebody
I'm
develop.
gonna have to try that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Because, once we kick off our initial one, that's the only one that has to be private. After that, this sounds like something she could take on the road.
I would really love to. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I would really love to take this technique and tweak it a little bit to incorporate it into a massage. Wouldn't that be a cool experience? Right?
Well, I don't know. Let me do it.
Well, yeah.
Let me try it first. See how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think it would be very cool to be able to tie it together and maybe tie in some breath work and some different somatic practices. And I guess what I'm saying on the record is I'd like to pioneer like a new type of
massage.
therapy
Yeah.
massage. Yeah.
Awesome. I struggle with breath work.
Oh, I struggle with a lot of
I can't get my brain to calm down long enough to do it.
That's how I am.
So-
That's what we were just talking about meditating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mindfulness, right? So I have trouble meditating too because I've got that crazy brain and 10 million things going on.
Squirrel.
Always a squirrel. I was watching a gang of squirrels run through my yard today. Speaking of squirrel moment, there were 3 little babies running through my yard, and I was like, "Oh my god, they're so cute!" I couldn't stop.
Did you
watching them.
actually see the squirrels, or was this just something that?
No, they're real, fluffy tails and all. And my cat was crying to get out, and I was like, "You are not going out. He was going to eat them."
Yeah.
So I told him no. So yes, 3 baby squirrels. What were we talking about?
See?
Oh, breath work,
Mindfulness.
mindfulness, right? That was an unmindful moment right there. Mindfulness. So just being mindful, right? And even if you're just doing your normal breath and not altering it all for 30 seconds, it calms your nervous system. It has an effect on your body. 30 seconds, just paying attention mindfully to your breath.
Well, when we were talking with Jeff earlier, we were talking about cold plunges. And there's there's a place that I go where we do the sauna. In the sauna, we do breath works in there before I cold plunge. And they all know, they're like, Amy would just rather us turn music on. Like, it distracts from my sauna experience if I'm thinking
Having
about
to breathe.
breathing.
Having to breathe.
I know. It's so funny.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think I'm going to have to come down. We'll do this, and then we'll bring you back, and then we'll talk about it.
Oh, yeah, like a follow-up. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do like a part 2 with you, too. Really?
Yeah.
All kind of part 2s today.
I like part
kinds of
twos.
part
I
twos.
like part 2. We should record a little, too.
Yeah.
Maybe. Once we get your flow going, record just a couple minutes of your flow.
That
or anybody's flow,
sounds
really.
very strange, but sure. Yep. Yeah.
You're following me, right?
Oh, I'm following you. It's just
I
a little,
gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Well, I'll tell you what. We end all of our podcasts with what we call a little frostbite. So I have a list of questions, and I always let the co-host pick from the questions.
She's reading.
I
I
know. I
have
was like,
nothing to do with this.
Okay.
in the spirit of frostbites, could you share a moment that was a bite of reality for you that turned out to be a pivotal point in your career or life? She's staring
She's
at me like,
Wow.
can you pick again?
That's a pivotal point in my career.
She has some kind of flow happening.
I'm waiting to see the spine move.
There are a lot of things that have happened in my career, right, that have been pivoting. But I'm going to go to this year in January, right? Like, I gave up what wasn't serving me, what was not my passion, so that I could focus on my passion. That led me to Australia. It led me to traveling. It led me to Spinal Flow. That the choice to follow my heart and my passion and give up what was extra was pivotal for me.
And hopefully we'll continue to be.
And it's amazing just what I'm able to do, right? Without the extra, the noise, just being able to focus in and really create a very cool environment and a cool staff situation and the clients we're serving and how we're able to serve them.
Well, I mean, and I think just a minute ago you were saying how you have finally opened up space in your brain and your life to be able to even desire to pioneer an entirely new therapy. Like, how would you even have the brain space for that? Like, had you not let go of something that wasn't serving you?
That's right.
Yeah, very true.
Pivots.
All right, guys. Well, that's our episode with Tanya Chaney. And I'll tell you what, after we go and have some spinal work done, we're going to come back and let you know how it went. Hopefully, I will come back and tell you. So stick around for the next episode, and we hope you enjoyed this one.